2, 1, and we're live.
Yes. Welcome
Shit.
to Not Another Goddamn Podcast, episode 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yes, that's appropriate because we are calling today a tribute to our fallen heroes. A lot of you may or may not know, today is actually a very... I got an echo going there, sorry, my bad. Today is a very somber anniversary for a lot of us in the rock and roll and especially the punk community.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the how many years has it been?
Since 2001.
2001. So
Since 2001, we've been without him.
Anniversary of the passing of one Joey Ramone. And this one's especially hard to take for Lee. So it's actually pretty amazing that we're even doing this because this is not typically how Lee spends this day.
I don't people well on this day.
No.
I
feel blessed that he's peopling with us today.
Yeah, it's why it's I usually have great eye contact on there, but I kind of don't right now. I mean, because it's just when I got that phone call from my nephew, and he was like everybody else, like Kurt Loder was on MTV News, and at a time when Kurt Loder wasn't doing MTV News, he only did the Ramones broadcasts. Like there was a news bulletin or something. Like when Dee Dee left, Kurt Loder gave that off. And Jon Stewart it was Jon Stewart that told that one. And but when Joey died, or when the Ramones broke up, he made that announcement. When they officially made the press and said, "Adios amigos," and the tour therein is the last chance you get to see the rock legends playing music. And that was at a time when Joey's family knew. Arturo Vega and the rest of the Ramones, Monty Zelnick, the manager, CJ, Johnny, and fucking Marky didn't even know. They didn't know until like 3 years after. He didn't tell anybody. And because he didn't want anybody to be bothered with it. He was going to bounce right back from it. He was utterly convinced. And I'd heard through the grapevine that he had cancer. And I'm like, man, Joey's always sick.
Yeah. But
Joey always bounces back too. He was kind of like the Mickey Mantle of rock and roll.
He's always playing hurt.
I got knocked down, but I'll get up.
Yeah.
I swear. Those are fucking lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't fucking understand laying down. He just didn't get it. You know, it just wasn't in his DNA.
Yeah, I think you were telling me about his final months, and he just, like, even up to the day he died, he was like, yeah, you know.
I'm going to go on tour with Jerry.
Yeah.
I want to meet somebody. He wants me to meet somebody. And Jerry only kept telling me that he was going to introduce me and him. And he said, if he gets better, he said, I think he's going to get better. He said, every time I talk to him, he's in a good mood. Because at that time, it was the Misfits' 30th anniversary. And they had Des Cadena from Black Flag playing, and they had Marky Ramone playing drums. Mm-hmm. And that's when I got to meet him. I've actually interacted with 2 Ramones. And that's kind of cool. That's very, very cool to say. But they were the one fish that got away. I got to see Black Sabbath play.
Right.
You and I both did. We got to see Bill, Geezer, Ozzy, and Tony.
Yeah, the real Sabbath.
Yeah. There's a reason why they didn't tour that much.
No, I mean...
They're old, for God's sakes,
I mean,
you know?
When I saw them, they had to be, like, in their early 60s at least, you know?
And they were doing it up to their 70s.
And in rock and roll, that's old, you know? I mean, I'm sorry, like... I know,
in dog years, it's like that dog being like 6,000 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I know in a lot of walks of life, you know, 60 is the new 40 in a lot of cases, but man, like not in rock and roll.
No, And wrestling.
Wrestling, dude. Wrestling, if you live to be 60, you are like an octogenarian in wrestling.
And
You
Social
are an old
Security
man.
for a wrestler starts at 70.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous?
That's what Piper was bitching about.
Yeah.
That's why there was bubblegum soda. That's why there was limited edition action figures made. Because all that, he got a big chunk of that money, and that kept his family alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unlike, brother, Hulk Hogan, and all that stupid shit. That fucking yoke ended up pleasing yoke, fuck terracotta twit, motherfucker. Fuck him, hack bitch. You know, he lived long enough to see himself become the fucking villain he always stepped on.
I love how you blatantly call him the hack in the lyric to Pay the Piper.
Fuck him, hack.
Yeah.
There is no Hulk in that man. There is hack. That's why every fucking time he has to sell product, money goes to Marvel. Take that, bitch. So many people used to flip me shit about that. You should like Hulk Hogan, and you should wash your fucking mouth out with goddamn kerosene and light a cigarette, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, I mean...
It's weird how we already touched on
yes.
2 fallen heroes since we hit Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and see,
it just
like...
seems appropriate.
Well, and that's exactly it. Because there's so many things that you learn when you get older, and that's your heroes are not immortal.
Joey's like your angel, and Piper's your devil.
Well, no, Gretzky's my angel.
Okay, Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky is my angel.
Joey's more like your ego. He's like who you actually are.
He's the saint behind me, and
oh,
dude, yeah, I'm burning a prayer candle. Like
you guys have got to see.
Yeah, look at that.
Stream here. Can I get it around there?
Yeah, there it is. My Joey Ramone prayer candle. Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
I mean,
appropriate on a day like today.
Well, yeah, because it's usually what I do is I sit around, listen to Ramone songs, watch Ramone's documentaries, and just cry my fucking eyes out. But twice today I laughed.
Yeah.
Well, there was a couple of times I was laughing so hard I hurt, and it was unfortunate. It was at somebody else's expense, and the 2 people I was with both said at the same time, "Well, isn't that the only way?"
I mean,
and I was just like, "Oh."
dude, it like you can watch a million damn funny videos, but like a fat man falling on his ass is gonna make people laugh every fucking time. I don't know what it is. It's like a cruel thing. People like to punch down with their humor sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
I smoke a half pound of grass, fell my ass faster than the fat bitch and sat down too fast. Whoa.
Yeah.
Come here, slut. Shady minute. Shady, wait a minute. That's my girl, dog. I don't give a fuck. God sent me to piss the world off. Yep. I'm in deep. I'm in deep.
Well, I mean, it's good to
I'm in deep.
It's good to get you talking and laughing.
Yeah, man.
So let's see. What's the new business? Do we have any new business? I attended a concert this weekend.
I was supposed to go. I'm sorry about that, folks.
It's okay. I didn't.
Yeah.
I dropped the ball too. I didn't get a hold of you. So.
Well, we discussed it. I had something else going on.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get free from it. God damn it.
But I made the trip up to Weston, and I got to witness.
How's he look?
Our brother Corey. He looks surprisingly amazing. Actually,
Good. Good.
For those of you who don't know, our bass player Corey Lake, he recently had a pretty serious bout with infection. He's diabetic and he had a foot infection, and unfortunately, he had to have his left foot amputated just above the ankle. And this happened last Saturday, And this past Saturday, i.e., what, 2, 3 days ago, it's Monday, I don't know, whatever. The other day, he played a show at a club 3 miles from the hospital where they took his foot off. 3 miles away, at a club in Weston, and it was a great time, man. Chud was awesome. It was a great energy. You know, he sat on the side of the stage, man.
Do you know what that truly fucking is,
dude?
I don't even do this shit often.
There is nothing.
That's metal.
There is nothing more fucking punk rock than doing that. That is so damn badass. Like, I'm sorry, that's tough as nails, dude. That guy is tough as nails. And yeah, Corey's a sexy beast that can't be put down.
Nope.
Right. That's right, man.
We're all too stupid to just lay down.
And he'll be back in the fold before you know it, man. He's begging me to send him some tracks, so he can get some bass down. I'm gonna delete my approximations of his bass parts and let the professional at it.
He's gonna kill that shit.
And dude, yeah, I mean, well, it'll be something to do while he's healing up and everything. Apparently, he's doing well. He's been to the doctor. It looks good. So they're hoping to get him into a prosthetic and get him back on his feet again.
I sent him some pictures of some prosthetic legs that are 3D printed.
Dude, they're getting really good these days. They really are getting really good these days.
That's sexy shit. He was like, dude, that's metal. I was like, you fucking ain't right.
Yeah. You
get into power stance with that.
So we're gonna have us a bionic man in the band. That's gonna be pretty awesome. And
fuck that, he's becoming War Machine.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Piece by piece, dude.
That's pretty hardcore.
It is hardcore. So, you know, like, that's one development. Actually, I got exposed to a new band, Lee, that I think you would really enjoy. I don't know if you know these guys or not. They're called Swamp Drag.
Can't say I've heard of them.
Apparently, they play a lot in and around the Morgantown area. And the funny thing is, dude, I knew their drummer a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I worked with, his name's Adam Allman. And I worked with this dude at Walmart in Buchanan.
What?
Dude, like 16 years ago.
Like way Homer shit.
Yeah, like
way
a
Homer
long
shit
ass
together.
time ago. And I hadn't seen him since. Like, I literally had lost track of him. You know, we didn't have really even MySpace back then. It wasn't really a thing.
Wow.
You know? And we didn't exchange emails, I don't think, or anything like that. Or, you know, if we did, I forgot. I think we had each other's number, maybe.
He is going to be like Eddie before it's over with.
Yeah, he is.
I think he would approve that. And, you know, and I'll tell you what, I've said this to a few choice people in my time. If anybody out there remembers RoboCop 2, like when Tom Noonan's in it, and they just, like, the woman kills him, and they remove his brain and his eyes and his spinal column, and just put it inside of, like, watery, like, fluid, and they put it inside this fucking bulletproof, rocket-proof, pressure-proof war robot with, like, fucking Gatling guns for hands and, like, pincers.
Yeah.
And shit, and just he just went. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? Dude, sign me up. Because if you start me up, baby, I'll never stop.
So when we walk
I'll
into
make
this
grown
place,
men cry, motherfucker.
Dude, like, Corey's sitting there holding court because, you know, everybody knows Corey and everybody loves him. So he gets there and he's just kind of holding court. You know, everybody wants to see him because, you know, he's out and he's doing better and everybody's, you know, kind of curious to see how he's doing. So he's there talking to 2 or 3 people, and I walk up and he goes to introduce me, and he interrupts him, and he's like, I know this guy. I used to work with him. And I'm like, I knew that was you. And I hadn't seen him for like 16 years. He looks exactly the same. It's hilarious. He really does. He literally looks exactly the same. And his band, dude, they destroy. I love them. They're very Queens of the Stone Age.
Nice.
Kind of. They're just kind of slow, heavy, kind of sludgy, repetitive stuff, kind of hypnotic.
Nice.
A lot of people call it like like desert rock or something like that. I hate subgenres, but it's descriptive. When you can't really play their music, I'd like to get their permission, maybe get them on one time if they're
That'd be
ever down here in
badass.
town. But uh,
Yeah, it'd be
you know,
badass.
hopefully, if any of those guys end up watching this, I added them all on Facebook because I hadn't talked to Adam in forever. It was a trip seeing him even, and then just the rest of the band was so great. I had to add them and follow them and stuff. And I mean, apparently, they've been a thing for a little while, and I guess they played Charleston a time or two.
Wow.
And I slept on them, man. I didn't
I
know they
seldom
were.
go out anymore, so I don't know what's going on downtown.
Yeah, I'm getting back. I'm going out occasionally. I'm gonna drag you out with me sometimes. We're gonna go to Parrot.
That'd be awesome.
We gotta do it.
Yeah, I
I'm
wouldn't
trying to
mind.
go out Saturday. I think might crash the Parrot or something.
Who's playing Saturday?
I believe at the Parrot, Sins of the Fathers, Saprogen, Dread, Utopia. I think. I'm not sure. Signals, I think, may be on that bill.
Oh, I like.
I really love
Signals.
Signals.
Those dudes are badass.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm thinking about going down there. Probably will. It's a good evening. It's gonna be 4:20.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord. All the potheads are gonna be out. Actually, no. All the potheads are gonna be at home with a fucking face full of cheese. That's what all the potheads are gonna be doing.
We'll probably be watching like the latest kids show and just
Yeah. It's pretty much. I mean, we're a harmless lot, really. We are.
Oh God. Well, because all I'm doing really, lately, like besides taking the 2-day vacation from the movies I'm watching, of course, trying to get a fucking job and working on that. I've been watching all the Marvel films, been rewatching all of them, and a lot of them I've only seen once.
Yeah.
Because I live a charmed yet busy life.
Yeah.
So I don't get a
Same.
chance to rewatch certain things. So in order to enjoy the experience that's going to be Infinity War, I wanted to do something I ain't ever done before. And that's go back and watch everything from Iron Man to Infinity War.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that doesn't mean the fucking Netflix shows and the cartoons, which don't follow the MCU. They follow more the comic book, if they can. And I don't mean Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though I do love that fucking show. I'm just watching the movies. I'm watching what kind of matters. And I'm real excited. That's going to be a crazy and climactic weekend anyways. There's a lot of things going on that weekend.
Yeah.
And it's only fitting that it would be that weekend.
It is.
It's only fitting because there's so many different things going on so many different levels.
It's just kind of cool to see it all come together, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I think it like the culmination of a lot of things that kept you hanging on when you were facing a lot of the dark shit that you went through is going to be that date, and it seems like the confluence of a lot of things that could be like a start of a really beautiful thing.
Are all happening after and during.
Yeah.
It's very spiritual.
It is.
And I'm not a religious person by any means. But
I'm not at all, but coincidences and things that synchronicities make me happy.
Yeah, man.
Like things like that just kind of, it's like something that just happens to rhyme,
And but see, like I'll tell you, I'm not a religious person at all, but I am goddamn spiritual. And I believe in the winds. I believe in things happening and falling into place. And it's a real weird situation at best. But it somehow strangely takes care of itself. And sometimes it does, and then sometimes it kicks your ass.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's meant to kick your ass, but you said something very profound to me right before we started all this. Right before all this, you were like, no. That's not going to fucking happen. From this moment on, we make our own luck. And I just looked at you, and as you look at me so often with belief and respect and love, I looked at you equally and nodded. And it's like, as soon as you said that, the one thing we were worried about, serendipity, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, it is, yes, indeed. As soon as you said what you said, it was like you put something out there. And it's like an electromagnetic pulse to all the negative shit. It was like you had this like hand controller and you just pushed a button and zoom, and just all the bad shit shook, wiggled, dropped to the floor in shitty pus-filled puddles and dried up.
I muted the negative waves.
Yeah, man. Oh, what's up? Wow, there's a lot of people that I know watching.
I got the remote from Click. That's what happened, man.
Just don't hit that thing too often.
Yeah.
That's one movie I hope I never watch again. The only reason why I watch it, I'll pull up the Terry Crews scene.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting to see what you will do.
You know what I just did? I just made a reference to a movie that I only know the premise of and haven't actually seen.
That's a fucked up movie.
That's
Dude, I
feel busted.
No, I don't feel busted. Dude, be lucky you didn't see it. It's like a fucking Serbian film. You don't want to watch that.
It's just
There are movies for entertainment, and then there are movies that just steady, straight fuck you up.
It was one of those that's hard on the soul.
Yeah, dude, after I watched it, I sat there kind of shaking like I'd been ass raped in prison or something.
Yeah.
Like, Adam Sandler and whoever did that movie were visual terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big fucking meaning to the movie, of course. But the premise of it and how you kind of follow through with this guy and what goes down, it just fucks you up. And in the beginning, it seems fun and fine, but then after a while, it just keeps getting worse and it just perpetuates. And after a while, I was like, God damn, man, enough. This dude, I think's had enough. But it just apparently wasn't. But I mean, but back to the point at hand, you said enough.
Yeah.
And you were strong enough for all of us. Because you had Corey in the hospital, hurt. We had other people that were going through shit.
Yeah.
We had so many other people inside and outside the family that were suffering.
It was tough time.
And uncertain shit. And still, here's me over here still kind of limping along. I should be getting better, but I need to get my fat ass up and get moving. That's what I need to do. And around this time of year is when I do it. If I haven't already done it, I do it more so now. Because I get all my fucking mourning out of my system. I get all my fucking out of my system. You know, the ain't never good for anybody.
Sometimes you need it.
Yeah, you got to release the valve once in a while.
Yeah.
You got to stupid cry once in a while. And God damn it, it hits me when I hear Joey's voice sometimes. That's when I know I need a good cry or a good fucking flip out. Like a class one, just drop sanity and just roll down the street attempting to lick my own balls. You know? I mean, it's really that type of thing, you know, because you just spiral. Or I spiral. And then, after everything, it's like the ashes made a plant. And it's my job to keep that fucking plant alive. And that's kind of the way I've accepted, dealt with, and saw things.
Yeah.
I saw them as a task afterwards. And I allow myself I used to allow myself one day, now it's 2 days, because both Joey and Peter both were incredible influences on my life. I mean, because, above all things, I am an artist. I'm a fucking feces. I mean, a Pisces. And Pisces are very, very intuitive people and use art as an expression and are easily influenced, easily taken by. Like, my room says suggests that of all the shit. I'm a very big fan of art. I mean, art is a big deal to me, and there's just so much that I I, I kind of connect to and seek from, and it charges me, and it gives me hope and strength. And Joey Ramone was this beacon of hope. He was proof that the nerdy guy could do something productive.
Yeah.
He was proof that the sick guy could get better. He was proof that you didn't have to be a drug-rattled, drunk, disrespectful, belligerent little shit to be a rock star. He was socially active. He was socially aware. He had his thumb on the pulse of many a broken soul. And he touched so many different people with his lyrics, with his vision, with his words, with his work. I mean, I Want to Be Sedated was about him catching fire and getting burnt by a combination of lights and cream.
Wow.
And it fucked him up, and he looked like the mummy. And he went to the hospital, got patched up, and kept asking everybody, is the show still going on? Yeah, well, tell the other band to go on, and we'll come out and finish our set. People are like, oh, you're fucking mind, Joey. And come out there on the stage looking like the mummy. Close the fucking show out. They missed a bit, but still Joey finished the show. They get me to the airport, get me on a plane, or get me to the hotel, get me to the show. Those were lines from that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, it was that, and the first time they spent in England. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. So, and there was no place, like, London shuts fucking down at Christmas.
Really?
There's nothing open. So all they were doing was watching old American movies. They were watching Guns of the Navarone on the TV in the hotel at Christmas by themselves with nothing. So those two incidences is what he wrote that song about. I don't have to tell you what the KKK Took My Baby Away was about.
Yeah.
And Johnny Ramone, if you can hear me, thank you for the genre. Thank you for the Charles Manson references. But fuck you, you were a terrible person. Thank you for punk music. Thank you for the uniform. I wear it proudly still. But you were still a terrible person.
I mean, yeah.
Terrible person. And you know, and I try not to say anything negative about people on open forums and shit, because it carries. But, you know, I can't help but have sour grapes for Linda Ramone either. Can't feel but have sour grapes. And I kind of just smile and go, well, now you get to talk to both of their tombstones.
Damn.
Shit just happens.
Yeah.
And, you know, you suck, Charles. I would love, that's the one that got away. I never got to see the fucking Ramones. The two chances I got, my boss was a dick, and I couldn't fucking get the time off.
Aww.
And boy, I regret that. Dude, I was heartbroken when they broke up.
I was too young.
And see, well, Adam, I had fucked his ear up with the Ramones, with the Sex Pistols, and with the Misfits. But he was a misfit.
I mean, by the time I really got into the Ramones, you know, Joey was actually dead, I think.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, but see, like, when Adam was a kid, when I'd wash his hair,
Yeah.
I'd go, what do you want to be? I want to be a Sex Pistol. So I'd put his hair in spikes when I give him baths.
Oh, that's so cute.
And we'd be sitting in the bathtub, anarchy for the UKs. Or, you know, she was a girl from Birmingham, she just had an abortion.
Wow.
Yeah, 4-year-old kid singing that in the bathtub.
That's so fucked
The
up.
lard
It's so
rolls just a
amazing.
bouncing.
That's just so funny.
If he was Ramon, I'd just pour his hair down straight over his face.
Uh-huh.
And then we'd bellow out, you know, singing songs about eating chicken vindaloo. And then if he was a misfit, which he liked a lot, I'd put his hair in a feather lock.
Yeah.
And we, whoa, whoa, and he loved that because he could do the whoa, you know. And so I think the horror shit and
That is
the
the
imagery.
cutest damn story that's ever been told.
Yeah,
on
well,
this
Jolene
podcast.
couldn't wash him one day, man. He threw a fucking fit and he said, "You do it wrong. Where's Uncle Lee?" And Mom had to drive me to her house
To give him a bath.
to give him a fucking bath. Because he would not get out of the bathtub, nor would he proceed without me being in there.
I'm so glad I didn't spoil Cooper that bad yet.
And I told Mom and Jolene, I said, "Would you like to see what I'm doing?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I sit down and I show them what we did. And it was always a bubble bath. You know, I always bubbled the little fucker up. And it was always either Nevermind the Bollocks, Walk Among Us, or Collection 1, or Ramones Mania. That was the tapes that we listened to when it was bath time.
That's so damn cute, man.
And
that's the cutest damn story I've ever heard.
well, yeah, and then he ended up growing up to be
adorable.
a severe and serious fucking Misfits fan. I think they may be his favorite band. I'm almost willing to bet the Misfits are Adam's favorite band.
Yeah.
And it's cool because so many people went so many different directions. There was the Sex Pistols fans, there was the Misfits fans, but thank you, Make Mine Ramones. And even though I don't care for Johnny and his politics and his activities, motherfucker was a Yankees fan. Huh. Proud Yankees fan. He got his fucking head cut open one time at a show. And they had to cut Johnny's hair for a while. And he was so disgusted by it that he wore a Yankees hat and demanded nobody take pictures. And there's very, very, very few pictures of Johnny Ramone during that time.
Yeah.
He refused that. Like, Joey all day long. Dee Dee all day long.
Amen.
You can take pictures of them all day long. Just don't take a picture of me. If you do, I'll kick your fucking ass. You know, he was terrible. That drill sergeant, man. Because his dad was in the military.
Yeah.
And if you go by the Ramones, Joey was the pop head, Dee Dee was the poet, Tommy was the anchor, Johnny was the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. And if you watch videos, like old videos, you'll hear them fighting on stage. Like, you'll hear them fucking almost coming to blows. Dee Dee and him almost coming to blows. And
Trying the cassette player into the bathroom to be able to listen to cassette tapes in the shower. Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying anything but that I'm old. And I have no qualms or problems about it. And now the Reverend Ghost of the house, we refer to her as it fell as we refer to her as the Freak of Keek. And she and I had a little thing going on called Door Wars. And she just ran right back out of it. She just ran right back out of it. Watch, my fucking control fell. God damn it. Hold it down, y'all.
It's always something, man.
Kiki and I have Door Wars. Yeah, if you want to fix that.
I'm trying to fix up our camera angle here.
Fix what's going on there, please.
We have a very advanced operation here, you guys.
Yeah, it's high tech, man.
It is.
Nick
It's
Fury
major.
called a couple days ago and said he wanted to implement
High tech.
high tech. You got to call it a high tech.
Is that gonna do?
We might have to put something underneath that to kind of stabilize that son of a bitch.
Yeah, keeps it sliding. I'm losing people.
People are leaving. They're running.
They're running away because I'm shaking the field.
We're contaminating the field.
We are contaminating the field.
They're all gonna run. Help! They're gonna take shits on our foreheads.
We really should have worked this out before we went live, but it will. Sometimes you gotta move the camera. What are you gonna do?
Well, you know, and sometimes uh, shit happens.
Shit happens.
And who you gonna call?
Who you gonna call? Us, apparently.
That's right.
And we'll come and fuck things up even more, because that's how we roll.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come up in there and at least fart once. And if I fart once, you have to wear a fucking hazmat suit. Because I will melt your goddamn soul. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I was late to the party on the Ramones, man. Honestly, I wasn't really much of a Ramones person until like I saw Johnny in a guitar magazine, and right, and they had an interview with him, and I read the interview with Johnny, and you know, like that's kind of was my impression. I was like, you know, this guy seems like he's kind of cool, but he's kind of aloof. He seems like he's kind of a dick, you know, and I didn't really think much about it. And you know, I had heard like a Ramones song or three, you know.
Oh, they're fucking iconic.
Yeah, there's a lot of the songs that are so, you know, they're iconic and ubiquitous. You can't really avoid them.
Yeah, they're earworms.
And so I'd heard their songs, a few of them, but I wasn't really, you know, a Ramones person. And Allie was more than I was, and had, you know, just a few random kind of, you know, old Ramones songs on her computer, you know, back in the file sharing days.
Oh yes.
And of course,
how could we forget?
You know, that was kind of very imprinting time of my life. You know, a lot of the music that you listen to like in your late teens and early 20s kind of sticks, and so I always kind of associate that with good times. And you know, like the Ramones, even though I'm not admittedly a huge Ramones head or Ramones fan, like to your level,
she don't have to be.
Like they always make me happy. And there's certain songs of theirs that are very they're very nostalgic, or they put me in a certain frame of mind. And every time I hear "I Believe in Miracles," it puts a smile on my face, because it makes me think of when we were first starting the band. And
yeah,
it puts me in a good mood.
It's
you know,
still
like,
one of our better cover songs.
It's one of our better covers, and I always enjoyed covering it. But the main reason I enjoyed covering it, to be honest, is because you enjoyed covering it so much, and it put you in a good mood. And I like that interplay with us. Like when we're both in a good mood, or we're like our moods are playing off of one another, or like we're both like really like feeling aggression, and we're like really pissed off, and
yeah,
we're playing like really heavy music. Like I always feed off of your energy, and vice versa, I think. And whenever we play anything Ramones, like there's always a huge smile on your face.
No.
And it just makes me happy.
Yeah, it's what really did. And to answer your question, Charles Espinoza, I'm about to tell you. Reason being, when I was a little kid, like little kid, I've said this before. I was at school writing a paper about what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I wanted to be this person that wanted to be a doctor that got blown up and become a gamma monster, you know?
Yeah.
Well, they said something realistic. I said, well, being a scientist is realistic. And they said, no, something realistic. So I said I want to be a rock singer. And unbeknownst to me at the time, that Buddy Holly had done the exact same thing when he was a kid.
Oh, yeah?
And Lars Ulrich did, too. And they both wrote elaborate stories about how they wanted to be musicians. And what record labels they wanted to work under, what companies they wanted to be, all kinds of shit. They just had it all hellishly planned out. And well, as a kid, I ended up writing this elaborate post, and this little girl in my classroom read it and said, "You're ugly. You can't be a rock singer. You're ugly." And I was heartbroken. I went home and I cried my fucking eyes out.
That's fucking mean, man.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was devastated. And yeah, like I said, I was real little. And
That's
then on
horrible.
TV, on one like late night show, yeah, that's right. And exactly, Larry. And what ended up happening is I ended up doing. I ended up sitting with my mom and my dad watching a movie, and it ended up being this movie called Rock and Roll High School. And the hot chick from Halloween that had her boobs out was like swooning all over Joey fucking Ramone. She was swooning over him. And I was like, my God. But he is a bad motherfucker. He's got a leather jacket. He's got glasses. He's got this fucking swagger to him. And when the manager in the movie, no, Joe, you can't have pizza. Wheat German, riboflavin. Yes, this is good for you. And like they give the chick a slice of pizza, she puts it, I'm gonna treasure this slice forever. And Dee Dee's holding his slice going, you know. And Johnny throws the piece of pizza. Yeah, say hi to Vince for us. Because they went to Vince Lombardi High.
Uh-huh.
You know? I mean, it was just, it was beautiful. And as a kid, I didn't believe the Ramones were real. And this punk dude I knew had their albums on vinyl. And the only one I can say I have on vinyl, I have a copy of Road to Ruin. That's my favorite. I even have Joey from Road to Ruin tattooed on my shoulder. And I went fucking ape shit. And I was like, wow, they're a real band. The dude punched me right after I said that. And I'm glad he punched me. Glad he punched me. I took that one like a man. And you know, I got pissed at the moment. But he said, you will forever thank me for punching you in the motherfucking face. For that disrespectful comment, motherfucker. Because he was a big fucking Ramones fan. He's cutting his arm. He was a crazy fuck. And he'd always cut Ramones in his arm.
Oh, damn.
And I'd look at him, I'd go, holy shit. And he'd go, that's how much I love him.
I thought that was a Slayer thing only.
Oh, no, dude, if you were a punk, you cut anything in your arm.
Jesus.
You cut little moons and little stars and little, you play, I actually played tic-tac-toe with a guy with his skin one time.
Yeah.
Using a protractor. And Rocket to Russia, End of the Century. But see, yeah, I love those albums. And they're timeless songs on them. But Road to Ruin was my shit. Road to Ruin was my shit. It's still my shit. And then in the post-drummer era and all that, it would be Brain Drain because we've covered fucking 2 songs off of Brain Drain.
Yeah. Well, Pet Cemetery is a perennial thing at Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
We always play that anytime we have a show in the month of October.
I wanted for Christmas to learn Merry Christmas, I Don't Want to Fight Tonight. But that'd be 3 songs off of fucking Road to Ruin. But it's such a great fucking album. And but it's great. It's such a great. And I mean, great album. And it kept me level when my dad died. Because I had bought that tape like 2 days after my dad died. And I still have my tape. And that tape is beat to fuck. And like, I ended up like copying it off this dude who bought it on CD. And that's been my copy for the longest time until I got like Google Play. And now I own all albums. But it was a mainstay. I always listen to Brain Drain is almost up there with Number of the Beast with me.
Yeah.
Because it's your typical fucking Ramones album, but it's your atypical Ramones album. And the fucking drums on it. Marky, it sounds a lot like Orgasmatron. The drums on Orgasmatron. That real hard fucking snare that sounds like it's been beaten. And, you know, and it was always something special. And it always was like a very important album to me. And then Mondo Bizarro come out, and that's the one with CJ. And Mondo Bizarro was real fucking good and had lots to say, and it was a very strangely positively uplifting album. And the band had gone through that period of time because Joey was still carrying the grudge to Johnny about Linda.
Right.
And you could tell that because Dee Dee was stepping up and singing more songs. And artistically, Joey and Johnny just were kind of not there. They just kind of, like, Dee Dee wrote almost every fucking song through that period of time. And it exhausted him. And that's ultimately why he quit, because he was so fucking tired of towing the line.
Mm-hmm.
So when he quit, they all kind of were sad and pissed off, but they all had to begin to toe the line and kind of give CJ that moment to move, you know? And CJ was a great replacement, and did a great job. I loved his vocals on Strength to Endure, Main Man, The Crusher. I mean, those are all great fucking songs. But then they did that cover album, which was Acid Eaters, and that was another great one. To hear the Ramones do Who'll Stop the Rain.
Oh.
7 Is and 7 Was, that's a great one. The Shape of Things to Come. People are going to look at me and sneer and huff, but I love Ted Nugent as a musician. Don't care much for him as a person. He is such a crazy fuck. I love him as a musician. My God, the man, when you go to see him in concert, he delivers. He delivers. He's one of the best fucking entertainers I've ever seen. And there was one time, the last time I saw him on a solo tour, I was telling my friends, I said, I would love for him to come out, playing one of those 58 hollow bodies he plays. Those Gibson 58 hollow bodies.
Yeah.
Guitar's bigger than his bony ass is.
Yeah.
His hair was bigger than the guitars. And the dude that I went with, who hadn't seen a show since Rush in 74, and he was like, I would love if he played an Amboy Dukes song. And the guy driving us is like, motherfuckers, I'm just glad to see Terrible Ted. First fucking thing, when the shit drops and they kick in to Journey to the Center of the Mind, and he's playing a fucking white hollow body like the one off of Free For All's cover. And my jaw dropped out. We both looked at each other and we both just saluted each other with beer. And I drank the shit out of the beer and I threw it over my shoulder. I said, mission accomplished. Fuck this. And we were tore up. But the three of us were sober as goddamn judges. And then when he got off the stage, it was like Geriatric Bad Company playing. Not Paul Rogers Bad Company, the other bad company. Not the good bad company. Not the good bad company.
The good bad company. Or they're that one of those bands that there's two iterations of it.
Well, no, they're members of both bands.
Right.
But there's a touring band that like tours used to tour the United States and had the higher pitched dudes singing for them. Like Holy Water and all that shit, all those Bad Company songs.
Okay.
But then there was the Shooting Star era Bad Company featuring Paul Rogers that did the bigger fucking deals.
Oh yeah.
And that's the Bad Company we went and saw. And we just went up into somebody's seats and just passed the fuck out. We just passed out the fucking in the Civic Arena or Big Sandy Superstore Arena. And Big Sandy Superstore. Shut your fucking mouth, you twat. But
come
like
to the Big Sandy Superstore Arena.
Big Sandy. I want to say that's why I always wanted to get on X106. And if Eric on the X ever interviewed us, I just wanted to go, Eric on the X. 4th Avenue, Huntington. I just want to keep saying that when you ask a question or something.
Oh my God.
Just 4th Avenue, Huntington. Because, dude, I thought, I mean, yeah, there were some people that liked it, but it became like, it was like Diet fucking Big K.
Yeah.
And Rock 105 ain't no fucking better. They don't play nothing. How many times can you hear fucking Steve Miller?
Dude.
How many times can you hear fucking Steve Miller?
I mean,
And dude, there's times when they'll play the same Pink Floyd song within the hour.
I'm not knocking classic rock. I love
I know,
classic
but
rock.
when you get
But
fucking when it's on the radio so goddamn much, you don't need to buy it.
there's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing else.
You have to wait for
Like,
D to hear Iron fucking Maiden, for Christ's
you
sake.
get,
Fucking crap! It's a travesty.
well, I mean, every other station around here is country, and it's not even like good country.
It's like being a Satanist.
Nashville country.
It's like being a Nazi in Compton.
Like being a Nazi in Compton. That is such a weird metaphor, dude, for so many reasons.
But does it not apply?
It kind of works on several different levels. Yes, it does.
Yeah, man. Being a
Like being a Nazi in Compton. Jesus. That's hilarious.
yeah, I agree. I like WAMX too.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you know, any radio station though that takes chances, they don't last long because the advertising dollar, and then the advertisers freak out. They're like, you're not getting X amount of ratings. They don't give them a chance to build anything. They don't give them a chance to take any chances.
Nope.
You got to stick to the formula, and not to truck in stereotypes here. I'm really not trying to traffic in stereotypes. What I'm saying is, like, the majority of people that listen to Rock 105 or Eggs 106.3, like those people, those cats are perfectly content to hear the same like dozen Zeppelin songs and the same dozen AC/DC songs and the same dozen Leonard Skinner songs
And the same fucking Steve Miller songs.
over and over.
I'm sorry, dude.
over
There are
and
other
over.
bands than them.
I mean, I love it all. I do. I love all that music. But I've heard it. I've heard it a lot. And I would love to hear a newer band get the kind of exposure and airplay that they deserve that maybe doesn't have
Rebel Radio.
label backing, because labels are done, man. Like they have basically a chokehold on the radio acts, and that's like it, I mean, there's not really anything else, and terrestrial radio nobody listens to. I mean, really, they don't.
No.
So it's all on YouTube and it's all on Spotify now, and
Or
honestly,
here.
and yeah, Facebook, and honestly, it's liberating because you can really do whatever you want. This right here wasn't a thing you could do in even 10 years ago.
No.
Even in the mid 2000s, you really couldn't do it. But now, it's there's no gatekeepers, but that's also a part of the challenge of it. There is literally so much stuff out there that you are competing with literally the entire world, just for eyeballs, for attention, and the pay scale isn't great. It's hard to monetize it. It's very hard to monetize it. YouTube, you can to a degree if you get the amount of hits and the amount of views that
And more and more people come in, and the more and more people that get the idea of doing it, it all just becomes noise after a while if you put it all together.
it's very hard to cut through all.
Yeah, and that's why cleverly we call this
Not
notice the
another
bird goddamn podcast, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And
We start out with a fucking lie right off the top.
we are contributing to the clutter. Obviously, we are. But those of you that are here, you're here, and obviously you're choosing this, and we appreciate that. And really, what we are doing is we're kind of here, like I've said this before, just to remind you guys that we're still here, and we are working, and hopefully, now that Corey is back on the mend. We'll get another practice or two in, actually learn all of our songs and get the hell back out there and entertain you guys again in person. But until then, until such time that we can actually do that, we thought we're
going to shake our asses online for you.
We thought we'd come here and just kind of, hold court with you guys. And honestly, it seems to be taking off. People are watching it repeatedly. Like, we're getting people that come back watch it week to week and ask us when we're gonna do it. You know, they look forward to it. So we're gonna keep doing it as long as people are watching. Even if there's like 5 people watching, I don't care. Like I'll do it for 5 people. It's just literally a hangout. But what I would really like to do, and what we're hoping to do here in the near future, is to just kind of expand this and to bring people on that you guys want to see. And,
oh yeah, that's totally gonna happen.
If you have anybody that that no, I mean, like, let's be realistic. We're not gonna get Henry Rollins on here yet. We're not gonna get celebrities. So but if you have a suggestion of somebody that we might be able to talk into coming in here in our cramped little space and just chilling with us for an hour or two, please connect us with them. Send us a private message, leave a comment here, maybe link them to us, and we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we can put together something entertaining for you guys that decide to stick around with us and give us advice and help us build this thing.
Yeah, man, because pretty much all we're doing is just we're doing what I keep saying, and it's basically just, God damn it, get up and let me try.
Yeah.
Let me fucking try. Let me do something.
We're just carrying the ball a few yards at a time, man.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
We're taking the short pass.
Mm-hmm.
As old Billy once said in the MASH episode. I mean, it's just, we've got to do something. And Kevin Smith really inspired me a lot. Kevin Smith, Joe Rogan, and Joey Diaz. Those 3 guys really inspired me a lot. And I've even noticed that David Lee Roth is doing a podcast now.
Says we're competing with Monday Night Raw right now. That probably does have a significant portion of our audience.
Well, and that's fine, but unlike Monday Night Raw, unless you pay, you can always come back and watch what you missed.
The extra content on Patreon. That's the X-rated content.
Oh.
Yeah. You gotta pay extra for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Patreon page, and that's where you got to get behind the paywall, and then that's where we film all the orgy stuff, from practice and whatnot, and all the circle jerks.
Yes.
We make sure we get a camera for that.
We're getting we need your money so we can buy lots of Crisco and rubber gloves. lots of Crisco.
Yes, lots and lots of
lots
lubrication.
And lots. Yes, there's going to be a lot of squeezing going on. There's be a lot of screaming and squeezing. People are going to be like, wow, this was the best social call I've had in years.
Gang bang at the old folks' home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dude, I was listening to Steel Panther at work the other day. It just kept me in a good mood all day.
I was letting a friend of mine
Friday.
hear.
That was Friday.
They had never heard the Panther before.
Really?
I was like, oh, just enjoy yourself.
This is 100% off topic, and we're totally like...
No, well, we are kind of, because we're talking about life, enjoyment, entertainment, and prestige, and that all spells REMONES.
Did you hear about the controversy that they encountered with the guitar pedal that they made?
You told me this, but
Yeah.
please, let this be heard.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar, and this is I'm probably like preaching to the choir here, and all of you are probably already down with Steel Panther. Steel Panther, they're like a joke band, but it's sort of a tribute band to the 80s. They basically look like they're straight out of the late 80s scene. Like they wear the big hair wigs and the spandex clothes and the excessive makeup. And
are they
everything.
wigs, really?
Most of them are, yeah. I think a couple of the dudes actually have real hair, but
Holy shit, that's excellent.
And like they just go completely over the top, and they write. I mean, it's just really ridiculous, raunchy, over the top
demeaning 80s songs.
Yeah, it's like it's 80s, but it's worse than anything they would write in the 80s, you know. And yeah, just like Tiger Woods, I love it. And and anyway, so they put out a guitar pedal, uh, and they released it, and it's a pink overdrive pedal, and it's called the Pussy Melter. And apparently, you know, some radical feminists and like social justice warriors or whatever took offense at this idea that there could be a pussy melter pedal, and they had it pulled from stores, and the stores had actually posted an explanation saying that it promotes violence against it, like the idea is that you're going to
Right?
you know, tie a chick down and literally like melt her fucking pussy with a heat gun. It's a fucking expression, you know, like it's a joke, you know. They're
Cutting
a joke.
heads.
They're a joke band, you know. It's
Shredding, shred fest.
funny. It's a, you know.
It's the same
humor.
term as any of those, you know.
So what do they do? You know, rather than like completely pull the product, they went through an alternative distributor to put out the same product, and they're making a delay pedal, and it's going to be called the Poontang Boomerang Delay Pedal. I fucking love them.
Oh my god, that's great. That is so fucking
Steel Panther
great.
forever, man.
Yeah, man, they're excellent. I really enjoy them. I enjoy the hell out of them.
That's the shit.
You know, I mean, and just.
That's right, Larry. Nobody can take a fucking joke anymore.
No, hell
100%.
no.
People are pussies.
And one of my friends one time, he caught me off guard with this. He's like, you know what? Joke them if they can't take a fuck. And I just went, all right. And I just laughed and just howled.
Hilarious.
I was like, that's fucking great. Woo! I mean, I'm like dancing around. I thought that was fucking hilarious. And I've used that ever since. Joking if they can't take a fuck.
You know, I mean, many of you out there that know me personally, you know, and a lot of people, regardless if you're friends with me on Facebook, I don't make it a secret that I'm probably leaning to the left politically, but these politically correct fucks really just irritate me. Like I can't, you know, like
I gave a burp.
Grow up.
Yeah, me laugh.
You know, like sometimes offensive shit is funny, and it doesn't hurt anyone. Like it doesn't actually hurt anyone if you can contextualize it. I think that's a problem with people is they take things out of context. You know, like that guitar pedal. That, you know, it's a dumb joke from a joke band, and it's funny. Like if you have a sense of humor, it's fucking funny. Like leave it alone. You know, like I don't understand why people aren't allowed to have fun anymore. And I think that's what we're kind of intending with a lot of the material we're working on. You know,
it was the jabs from the self-help movement.
It
when
is.
Everybody was offended by something small, and I mean, you know, one of them arrogant, childish fucks couldn't take a good West Virginia pig fuck like we take on a basis.
Well, I mean, you know
these assholes have had everything handed to them. They happen to have the money, they happen to have the ability, and they happen to have the ear of the assholes that are supposed to be taking care of us. So they put they put a whisper in their ear, and slide some cheese in their fucking shorts, and I do mean both kinds of cheese. And you know, they're either going to give them a good yeast infection or a pocket full of money. Either way, man, it's all just bullshit.
Kat says apparently they've never had their pussy properly melted. I agree, 100%.
What did George Carlin once say? Don't you find it mildly ironic that women who are against abortion are people you would want to fuck in the first place?
God bless George Carlin. I love that fucking guy so much. Now see, that is my fallen hero. Georgie.
Oh, George. I was pretty fucked up over that. I had tickets and I couldn't go because the band I was in at the time, cunts.
I never managed to see him.
But he was real sick when he was here. He
Yeah,
was real fucking sick. And I'm kind of glad I didn't go because it kind of would have broke my heart.
yeah.
But I remember A Place for Your Stuff. You know, oh fuck, Elmer Fudd or Porky Pig raping Elmer Fudd. He was asking for it.
Oh man.
He
So
was coming on to Porky.
you know, actually, I got into George right at the era that he himself says is his best work, which would have been I think the first time I saw one of his specials, I think it would have probably been the '96 one, which I think if I'm not mistaken was You're All Diseased. I think.
I have the poster to that. That was the
Uh,
poster I had on the wall.
yeah, well, and then we have one over at Eric's was from Complaints and Grievances, right?
I think it was You're All Diseased.
Oh,
Because it's that picture of him, his head all big and little, and
uh-huh.
he's pointing.
Yeah,
You're all diseased.
but I think it was the '96 one, and this was around the
that was
time.
a good one.
This was, I think I told you about this. We knew a dude when we first got satellite television. This is a big deal for us because I grew up, very, very, very redneck, very isolated. We had two television
You weren't
channels.
missing anything, baby.
We had two TV channels when we were kids. Okay, we had Channel 5 and Channel 12. If Channel 5 came in clear, then Channel 12 was a little fuzzy, so you'd have to go and turn the antenna around to get Channel 12 to come in right. And then, like, if the wind was blowing, forget it. It was come in clear for a few seconds, and it was fucked. And it's clear, and then it's fucked. And it's clear, and it's fucked. That was childhood, And then we got satellite television when I was about maybe 10 or 12. And that would have been around '96. And Carlin was a huge deal then. And my dad got.
You are right, sir.
My dad knew a dude. Oh, it is, yeah.
Complaints and Grievances.
Complaints and Grievances was the one that came out in 2001 because they had to rename it. Because it was originally entitled, I believe.
This is the poster we had in at Eric's place when we were practicing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's reversed like everything else.
Yeah, but it's awesome, man.
It's
a great, because I have I'm such a Carlin head myself. Right over here, I have his 3 action figures.
Aw.
I have Mr. Conductor, I have Rufus, and I have Fillmore.
So a little while after we got satellite TV, we knew this fellow that hacked the access codes for the little access card, right? And he would sell these to people for like, I don't know, like $100 or something. And it was like literally like the access code was like wide open, so you could watch literally anything at all times of all days, like all the like pay-per-view movies that they had, and like all the pay-per-view porn and shit, and all the
For
fights.
free?
Yeah, for free.
Oh my God, that's heaven.
You could watch all the fights. You could watch like everything. All you had to do was have the DirecTV box, right? And then eventually they would change the codes. But dude would just like run his computer program and hack the code again, and then fix your card, and he'd just charge you like another $50 or something to update your card or some shit. So like we had this at the time, and this was around the time that Carlin was doing an HBO special about every 2 years. HBO was like a huge venue for him.
Yes. Oh,
So-
yeah.
So
HBO was his
shaped
biggest
a lot
platform.
of my childhood because I was naughty and would sneak and watch it, while everybody else was in bed or when I wasn't supposed to be watching it or whatever. But George Carlin was one of those things, and my dad actually did occasionally watch the Carlin specials in front of me, and I just loved everything about Carlin. He was very liberating,
Yeah.
and it was it was just such a thing, like he would open up your mind to possibilities you never really thought of, and because like I was raised kind of conservative, kind of isolated, and ideas like what he was talking about were really radical, but Like, that's part of what made him funny. Like, he was shocking, you know, to somebody like me. You know, like a 12-year-old kid from, like, up a holler is very shocking. You know, you
Yeah.
talk about, you know, the Ten Commandments, and you're like, he's talking about the Ten Commandments? It was just a thing, like, that guy, he's going to get struck by lightning talking like that. You know what I mean? Like, and and it was a thing that just kind of opened my eyes a lot, and it was a lot of his routines and stuff really stuck with me, because like that was the time he was doing a lot of that stuff. The Ten Commandments thing was on the '96 special.
The interview with Jesus Christ is still one of my favorites.
The thing where he was, but he was also talking about like how degenerate American culture was during that. Like,
yeah,
he had the thing where he was talking about the list of people that ought to be killed. And he was talking about like how you can put all these different groups of people that were undesirable in the different square states. And
yeah, and the door for every hour.
Open, yeah. You know,
wait for 1 hour. We open the doors and let everybody in.
Yep. It's just
who drives the Volvo or a Saab? Who the fuck drives a Saab?
You know what I'm getting kind of tired of? Guys named Todd. Hi, I'm Todd. Hi, I'm Tucker. Hi, Tucker. It's good to meet you. Hi, Todd. Hi, Tucker. I'm Todd. Hi, Todd. I'm Tucker. Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks, okay? I just love him, man. Like, he was so irreverent. And, you know, it's like everything he said, you know, like, it was electrifying, you know, like, you know, 12-year-old with a dirty mind and you know, quick imagination and shit. And it gave me shit to say on the schoolyard, made people think I was cool, you know?
I was 7 years old, and I'd watched this one. It was fucking great. And teachers kept saying Lee is smart, just doesn't pay attention, and doesn't remember things well.
Class clown.
Well, I've got a copy of that on fucking vinyl. Paid $0.25 for it at a flea market, and it's fucking beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful
yeah.
pressing of it. But anyways, I go to school that following Monday, and they're like, they ask all the kids in class, can you tell us what you memorized? If there was anything important. And I raised my hand. I said, I something Mom, Dad, and I watched Friday night. I memorized it today. They said, what's that? And I jump up, and I smile, and I'm like, it's a cheer. And it goes like this. Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes tied in a knot. Hooray! Lizard shit. Fuck! Yeah, they called the parents. Yeah, they called the parents.
Oh, hell yes.
They took me to the office.
Oh, that's great.
And we had a discussion. Yep, we had a discussion. And my father, being my father that he was, Mr. Joseph Lee Harrah Sr., puffs his chest up, looks at the teacher, goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And he pulls out my fucking report, my progress report. Because this is back when you got S's and N's.
Yeah.
You didn't get no A's and B's and C's, motherfucker. You were still scraping the goddamn mat. All these people liking to call the Hulk dumb. Well, then I guess all kids from the age of birth to 9 are dumb. Because all them dummies get S's or N's. Turd-faced fuckwads. But anyways, you know, I got in at not remembering things. And my dad said, you have no leg to stand on. And he snaps it, pops that fucking report and says, read that line right there. Mr. Harrah, that's a, read it! And she reads it and looks up at him. Didn't you just tell me that he said this in class. And she went, yes. Well, did the boy tell you that he learned it Friday night? I think he memorized shit pretty good to me. Why are you wasting my time? Grabs me. Nikki, I'm hungry. And just drags us out. And nothing more was said about it. And they said, but Lee, you can't say things like that in school. And I said, it's like the 7 words you can't say on television. And she went, I'm not going to ask you to tell me what those are. I said, I'll tell you. No. And so there was that. And I was always famous for raising hell and cursing in school because I didn't give a fuck. I still don't give a fuck. I haven't given a sugar-frosted, fat-free fuck since before I can remember. No, it's not served me well. It never serves us special fuckers right. We deserve keys to the kingdom. Alas, it's the morons that run the world.
It is.
There's no fucking sense. There's just no fucking... We are living in bizarre world.
We are.
I'm convinced, utterly convinced.
Everything is upside down. Right is wrong, left is right, red is fucking green. It's confusing.
Now, white is black, or black is white, and white is black. We got politicians smoking crack. John Paul's on bulletproof, and it puts me through the roof. Van Halen. Yeah, that's a good fucking song too. Sammy had some hits, but I digress. But yeah, it's just Carlin shaped my life, and he shaped it to where I could be funny. And he taught me a lot about language.
Yeah.
He taught me a lot about language. The man, I said it before so many times, but if you would have offered him the position, he would have turned it down, but he would have been this nation's absolute most perfect president.
It would have been fantastic.
Yeah, you goddamn right.
I mean, we
goddamn right.
have a stand-up comedian as president now. We might as well have had the best one.
We have a reality show host as a president.
But you know, like in Georgie's case, like honestly, you could almost put across the board any celebrity, any public figure, any leader, any politician, anybody to me, and say who to this is the closest to matching, you know, your outlook on life. Who is like the expression of your philosophy and your soul and the way that you see the world. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it's George for me. Like, George just had so much right.
Mm-hmm.
And he just made such an impact on me, more than almost any other public figure, artist, even guitar players, man. Like, George influenced me more than equally to Steve Vai, probably.
I'd see that.
Like, Georgie is just...
Because when I threw Carlin references out, you snatch those motherfuckers right up and look at me and smile.
Every time, man.
And I'm like, oh my God. Because he is, dude. I mean, he isn't as perfect as Bill because George was like us in that sense. He had traversed the forest and become the shaman of words that he was.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting to me about
Bill was
George,
never in that shit because Bill rose above all of us because he saw it all before anything else came.
Bill didn't have the people pleasing phase like George did.
That's what made him perfect, dude.
Well, George went through, like, you know, trying to be an entertainer first.
And Bill told us what we needed to hear, not what we wanted to hear.
I love the way that he put this in this one interview. I'm not sure. I'm gonna bastardize it and fuck it up because I don't have it right in front of me. But what he said was that an entertainer is first a jester, you know. But if the jester has command of language, and he's able to arrange it in such a way that is pleasing to the ear, then he's a bit of a poet as well. And then if the jester philosopher or the jester poet has something profound to say, then he is also a philosopher as well. So if you can manage to encapsulate all three, then you're in the realm of the artist, because you're an entertainer, so you're a jester. You're good with words, so you're a poet, and you have profound ideas, so you're a philosopher. If you're able to combine that that entire triptych, is what he called it. If you're able to combine that, that's how you manage to transcend and be an artist.
Right.
So it's all a combination of those what you would think of as diversionary roles. Really, it's all part of going deeper in the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're
yeah.
like you're a kid, you're class.
Hey guys, didn't make the team, but
Yeah, you're that guy. And then like as you get older, maybe it's
you went to all the parties. You got the last girl, but you went to all the parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then
occupation fool.
But that's like the entry level. So you're that guy, and I was that guy in school. I was always the class clown, because I would get done with things, I would get bored. But then I developed the proficiency for language, so I fancied myself a poet. I wrote a lot, and some of it was good, some of it not so much, most of it not so much.
And see, that's awesome though. That's why
that
explains a lot of your songwriting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wrote songs before I was really a guitarist or a singer or a songwriter or anything. I would just write poems, and they were meant to be songs. Dude, I tell you what's funny. As I was in this band, I put quotes on it because we never played any shows. We never really
it's like a girlfriend
rehearsed.
on the phone, right?
We never really rehearsed, really. What we would do is we'd bring guitars to school. And we had a buddy that played drums, but we never really actually even rehearsed at his house. Or like if we did, like 2 or 3 of us would go over there. We never got together at the same time. And there was 3 of us that played guitar, and none of us could decide on who was going to play bass. And we didn't even have a bass, or maybe we did, but it was like really cheap, shitty bass. And like we were always fighting over who was going to play guitar. And one of the members of this was Josh Ringer from Knuckle Dust.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So Josh, me and Josh, and Paul, John Signs. His first name's actually John. People called him Paul or John Paul. Paul Signs was another one of the dudes that played guitar, and then John Searles would play drums. But like really all we would do is like hang out and goof off in the hallways, and like we would write stuff on pieces of paper that was like in the form of song lyrics, and it was all like really kind of abstract, kind of punk stuff, because like everybody else was really into the pop punk stuff, and I was trying to be into it to fit in, but it really wasn't my thing. They all liked Green Day and Blink-182 and Sum 41 and shit like that. That was their jams, and I wasn't really that guy. But we would write these awful lyrics, and I remember one. I think Paul Signs wrote this one. It was it was something like I live down by the mall, by the shank and tittle. I never get laid because my paycheck is little. You're all lucky I can't afford a gun. It was shit like that. And we would never actually make it into songs. Like we would sometimes like bash power chords on an acoustic guitar, or on like an electric through like a shitty little like PV or Fender amp, and
or
just
boombox or something.
And we would like yell this stuff. And we never really had like songs, but it was like it was literally like a social thing. We hung out. We called ourselves Sour Mash. It was in the school yearbook and everything. We never actually played a show. We never did anything. And dude, that was like the first time I was actually in what constituted a band, if in theory, but we never actually played.
I kept getting thrown out of bands.
But dude, I had like
I was an
notebooks.
asshole.
I had a like whole ass like, well, it wasn't notebooks. So we'd take a piece of loose leaf paper and we'd just absently write a lot of these like, you know, kind of immature punk lyrics on pieces of paper. And I think one time, like, my parents, like, found them and they were all in my jacket pocket, like, folded up. And they were like, really? Like, you're writing this kind of disgusting stuff? Like, they kind of shamed me about it. And, you know, it's like, yeah, well, give me a break. You know, it's just...
What the fuck are you?
They didn't come down on me. It wasn't like they cracked down. I mean, hell, like, we were kids, you know, we were 16.
Yeah, man,
you know, we were just
yeah.
doing dumb shit. Carol says, love the name. We stole it from Ringer's dad's old bluegrass band.
That's hilarious.
But we stole it, and we were going to make it into a punk band. And it just never happened. Because, like, you know, Ringer and I weren't even into punk. Like, Ringer was a metalhead. And I was more into classic rock, and Ringer got me into more metal. Like,
right.
Like, Ringer was like the devil on my shoulder. Like, hey, listen to Ozzy. Isn't Ozzy great? Oh, cool. Yeah, listen to Motorhead. You like that, don't you? Yeah, listen. You know, he was that guy. Like, you know, got me into Metallica, got me into Ozzy, got me into Motorhead, like, all that kind of shit. And, you know,
It was
thankfully.
my sister who got me into Ozzy. And it was her piece of shit first husband that got me into Motorhead. Like, he had Ace of Spades' cassette, and I put that motherfucker in, and I pushed play, and it switched over, and the chase is better than the catch.
Yeah.
That fucking driving riff and that breakdown, and that fucking crazy tuned bass he is.
Yeah.
And, you know, and when he rips out that fucking line, honey, I know what I'm doing. I ain't around. I ain't no drag. You know I'm just not screwing. I ain't. I was like, that blew me the fuck away. Well, it wasn't but like a couple of weeks later, I started watching this TV show called The Young Ones. And The Young Ones was my jam. I got the entire series of it on DVD. Ugh. Love that shit. And they won like this contest. And they're like, oh, we have like 5 minutes to get there. And they all look at each other and they just like, in this show, they would just go music. And it'd just be some hit band at the time playing. And they would be like music for the guys doing a montage of things, and people would, of course, laugh. Mm. And the one guy, Mike, gets up, snaps his fingers, points the camera, music. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I looked and I was like, wait a minute, is it that? Oh, shit! Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's Motorhead! I was like, they're fucking awesome! And when I met Lemmy, he asked me what was the album that did it. I said it was Ace of Spades, but it was Chase is Better Than the Catch was my first song. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, you odd fucker. That was all he said, you odd fucker.
That's great.
And it was such an experience. And I'm going to bring all this back around. Because this is how bad fucking ass we are. And how connected our shit is. See this?
A plan is forming.
Yes. Ian Kilmister was around when the Beatles were playing their earliest shows in Liverpool. He'd drive up from where he lived to Liverpool to see these tough-ass fucking Bowery boys, as they would be referred. Mm. They were all sweet and loving over here to us, but they were from a really rough part of England.
Right.
So, you know, and Lemmy appreciated that. So Lemmy was there. Okay, years later, he ended up being a roadie for Jimi Hendrix. He ended up knowing, writing for, roadieing as well, handing daggers to a countless number of influential rock icons throughout his life. Throughout his 70-year existence, if there were a name, he either knew him, punched him, snorted and smoked and drank with him, or worked with them, wrote a song for them, or announced them, or presented them.
Mm.
It's one of those. But there's only one band out of the illustrious 4X career of the mighty Motorhead. Only one song was written about and for a band. Does anybody know what that is? You know what it is.
I do know what it is. I wonder. I bet you, because this has about a 4-second lag. I bet somebody out there is gonna answer that.
Someone fucking better, because if they do, I'll give them something free.
A shiny penny.
No, I'll give them like a Harrah pin or a Harrah mousetrap or Harrah the marker or something. You'll get a free piece of Harrah merchandise if you can guess that shit. And I'm not gonna go any further than the fucking clue I've left. You should still have your metal card.
I forgot. Oh no.
Yeah, and see if I don't hear anything, well, then I'll let it ride for a couple of minutes. But if I don't hear anything, I'll just start like belting out some of the fucking lyrics. And if anyone calls it, you get something good and free. No, I don't know if it's good, but it'll be free.
I don't know if it's good.
Oh, shit! She caught it.
She did.
New York City, NYC, pretty mean when it wants to be. Black leather, knee-hole pants, won't play no high school dance. Buzz tone, hear 'em go, hear 'em on the radio. Misfit, Twilight Zone, Ramones, Ramones, Ramones. So much that he actually sang it with them on their final show. So much that they actually were recorded doing it. And ultimately, the two bands never played together because their schedules didn't permit it. But there was such a mutual respect between the two. So many times you saw Joey rocking a fucking Motorhead shirt. He even had a Bastards shirt. Lucky fuck. I had the tour shirt of Bastards, but his had the Bastards over it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, because I still want to give me some Motorhead shirt. That's fucking excellent. But anyways, but Lemmy was such an icon and such a fucking legend, and truly the godfather of heavy metal. Even though he played rock and roll, he taught metalheads how to be more metal than they could be.
What's great about Motorhead, and a lot of people have said this, is that they represent pretty much like the confluence of a lot of different types of hard music.
Yeah.
You got the punks like Motorhead.
The death metal dudes like Motorhead.
It's like Motorhead. Thrash metal dudes love Motorhead.
He made reference, like somebody interviewed him one time, and they were like, do you find it strange or defacing that in movies and TV shows and like internet episodes, the villain is always wearing a Motorhead shirt? They're often wearing a Motorhead shirt. And he said, it kind of makes sense. The rough and tough kind of people you don't like, listen to Motorhead. That's kind of the way I like it, you know? Well, he even told Triple H, because both times Motorhead played, yeah, right, Larry, I was about to follow up on that. Both times at WrestleMania, when they played live for him, it's all about the game and how you play it, it's all about control, and you just can't take it. Both times Motorhead, the band, played at Triple H's match, he lost both times.
Mm.
John Cena took it once, and I can't remember who the other one was. And he got ushered into Lemmy's limo. There's Lemmy, cigarette, Jack and Coke in his hand. So I understand you lost again. Yeah. God damn, man, you fucking suck. You're a fucking loser, ain't you? And he said, both times we played for you and you lost. And he's like, yeah. He said, well, you might be a loser, but you are kind of loser. He said,
sweet,
dude, What else can be said? If Lemmy's gonna power check that one down on you, dude, I'd quit.
We'd be Lemmy's type of losers.
Yeah, fuck yeah, we would be. That's one of the reasons why I think. Because, dude, if anybody wants to watch a heartbreaking story of rags to riches, watch there's documentaries of Motorhead on YouTube. If you've got the hour to spare, and I'm not talking Lemmy's documentary or his show about himself, his biopic, I'm talking about Motorhead the band. Because Lemmy leaves a lot of that out in that movie about his life. But the story of Motorhead alone would make you not even want to pick up a fucking guitar, let alone a pair of sticks. Because Filthy fucked them up like 3 or 4 times. He kept getting sick, kept getting ill. Band kept putting 2, 3 years off. It was never good times for them.
No,
until it started to pick up. And then when it picked up, get the fuck out of the way. Just like the song they wrote. They were loaded and they were a locomotive.
Yep.
You know, and that's just how it was, dude. And when they started taking off, the Orgasmatron didn't fucking stop.
But at first, it's just being too dumb to quit, man. Not knowing what else to do.
I think I know a couple of people that play that religious card very highly.
Yeah.
And, I mean, anyone else would be smart enough to fucking pack it in. But, or anyone else who would have enough sense not to try to prove people wrong would just not bother. Pardon me, I'm gonna fucking bother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking bother, and I'm gonna rub my naked ass balls, my balls and my ass all over your face whilst I'm doing it. It's, and I'm gonna even use another Motorhead title. It's either gonna be Death or Glory, motherfuckers. And for a Spartan, it's both. So either fucking way, I'm gonna win.
Victory or die.
This is goddamn right. Oh, when a dude that first, he opens that album so fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Just that, just victory or die. It's fucking heavy. Oh my god, dude! And I was like, this is his last album. Fuck you, world.
Yeah,
Fuck you. He kicked you in the balls before you left.
Bit. He did not slow down.
Yeah, man. Fuck yeah. And that's what makes that such a special thing. And that's why out of the first 4 episodes of this show, 2 of them are about the fucking Ramones.
Yep.
Trust me, there'll be Iron Maiden ones later. And for good fucking reason, because I've got lots to talk about and lots to smear into some people's faces.
We do manage to refer to most of our things that we're majorly into at least once on almost every episode of this, though.
Yes!
We just kind of meander.
Yes!
We spent like pretty much the first hour and a half so far, and we're pretty much just on the Ramones, but we were going to touch on Peter as well.
Oh.
Because, yeah, that was, what, yesterday?
That was 2 days ago.
2 days.
Yeah, is today Monday?
Today's Monday.
Well, fuck me, Richard. Okay.